He gets even worse by saying, "Oh, it's an interpolation." No, it isn't. We know this because we've seen numerous people talk about it. Because actually, we saw Origin talk about it. No, sorry, I do apologise. Justin Martyr talk about it because one of the things that Tacitus does do in his work is that he misspells the word Christian. He spells it Christiens, which in Latin means cool or good. And Justin Martin says, "Oh, you call us cool and good, but you want to kill us. Why are you doing that?"
Actually, in the original source for Tacitus, it spells it Chrestus with an E. Not the fucked up way that you're suggesting that it was spelled. Maybe you need to go back and reread some shit.
Godless engineer, a conscious pioneer, a logic general, a reason brigadier. More bullshit from the pulpit. Meet me in the comment section and you get schooled, bitch. The Godless engineer.
I know this because I had to make an authenticity video about Tacitus if you wanted to argue against the authenticity of it. Because Chrestus was a common slave name that meant, good, handy, or whatnot. While Christus, that Christ, it means anointed. And as you point out in your video here, that, anointed, anything can be anointed. So how Tacitus spells it is Chrestus or Christians. And, we don't know how he would have referred to the actual incident that involves Chrestus later on, because conveniently that part is missing. Thanks, Christians. But anyways, he's referencing Chrestus here, which is a slave name, and there apparently was, through other sources, there was a particular instigator named Chrestus that was agitating the Jews and causing a whole bunch of violent attacks for their particular version of Judaism. So, he's referencing Chrestus, not Christus. It's a later interpolation because, even back then, the Christians thought that, oh, that's just, Christus, those are basically the same motherfuckers right there. I mean, come on. It's just a misspelling or some shit. And so, that's how it's an interpolation, is that, you get to Christus because they interpolated it as Christus. It started out as Chrestus with an E. So, yeah, explain that shit, why don't you? Which, given your Justin Martyr reference here, and I haven't researched Justin Martyr, I need to, so that I can produce a video about him. But, if this Chrestus was like what Suetonius reports, and we more than likely would assume Tacitus reports, then Justin Martyr would be referring to Christians, even if it was coming from the later, scribal interpolation of Christus or whatever. Why are you being so fucking violent? I'm Chrestus, bitch!
No need to do that. But again, you see, things like this do not agree with the facts that these people want. People like Richard Carrier want to present Mr. Godless Engineer, which is something that I'm very worried. Someone who talks about what early Christian fathers do and do not do, you'd think you'd actually look into this a bit more and just find out why Richard Carrier is full of shit.
Well, how about this? Instead of making a video where you bitch and you bitch and you bitch about my content, and then you don't give me any good information to believe that Richard Carrier is full of shit, instead you just tell me, well, you need to look into this a little bit more. I mean, come on, dude, seriously? You're going to sit there and dog Richard Carrier saying that he's full of shit, but you're not going to provide any evidence to say that he's full of shit. With all of my videos, I give you references to who I'm reading, where I'm pulling this information from. Richard Carrier's book about the historicity of Jesus has numerous references in it. I mean, it's fucking indexed out the ass. So you're gonna have to provide me with good evidence to think that Carrier is actually full of shit, because I don't think that he is. Like I said, he uses mathematics in order to prove his point. And It's not confirmation bias like you're fucking saying right here. If anybody here is using confirmation bias in order to form their opinions, it's fucking you.
But we'll get into Josephus because that's the main bit. That was just that was just the appetizer. This is the main course.
Oh, bring it.
Because these videos are wrong on a factual level. So let's talk about factual wrongness. First of all, he talks about brevity. How brevity what is one of the proofs that he gives for the fact that this is a forgery. But brevity does not denote falseness.
Okay, so I see multiple problems here. One thing would be that you're kind of putting up this whole brevity issue as my main contention with Josephus. It's not. You say that, and I say that because you're saying that by me bringing up brevity, it means that oh yeah, fuck, it's false because he's really short about it. No, that is one piece of the puzzle. It's not like you're gonna try to put a puzzle together. You're gonna lay one fucking piece down and be like, oh, I'm done. That's just dumb. I'm not saying that you're dumb, but it's a fucking dumb assumption to make. Now, brevity is very important when you consider Josephus as a source, because he goes on about innocuous shit for paragraphs upon paragraphs. There's a sex scandal right after this passage that he spends more time dictating how fucking thick the guy's cock was rather than describe the most important man in history, somebody that he says did 10,000 other wonderful fucking things. And that's the only bit about him in the book? I don't think so. So what you're considering here is the author. The author, Josephus, was very long-winded about even the most minuscule things. And you would think that a big a topic as Jesus Christ, you would think that he would elaborate a little bit more. He wouldn't just leave it as 10,000 wonderful things. Blah, 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 blah. Sucking that Christian cock. Nah.
It denotes maybe it's something that the person's familiar with, or famous for, or a notable achievement.
Again, he would have been long-winded about it, dude. He wouldn't have just left it at one short fucking paragraph. And we know this because of how he's writing. That's his writing style. You have to judge it relative to the author.
And it is used in English today as such. So again, your argument for brevity doesn't really work when it's used in language today.
Really? You're comparing the language of today to the language of a first century Jewish historian. Really? You're comparing, like you're saying, oh, well, if it happens today, then fuck, it should have happened then. You're not giving me a good argument on this one, man.
You'd only have a good point if it wasn't used in Latin, and it was both sometimes by people, as an aside. Then his argument is grammatically. He says, well, grammatically it doesn't make sense because the sentences between the one where he talks about Pontius Pilate and the Roman Jews and then being spread to being quashed by the Romans, it fits too well. The thing doesn't fit too well. Here's the problem. Well, here's the major problem, and this is what is the problem. That's how language works today. We do it all the time. When we reference somebody who is of note, we talk about what they're famous for. Let me give you an example. Leonardo DiCaprio, as I know that's going to be a transatlantic that people will know about. Let's say I want to talk about that he's been nominated for an Oscar. I'd say something like Leonardo DiCaprio, who is famous for Avatar, Titanic, and The Wolf of Wall Street, got nominated for the Oscar today. That's how English language works today. So you're telling me that's not how it could have worked back then? Because he's talking about Pontius Pilate. And you said, oh, why would he talk about Jesus when he was talking about Pontius Pilate?
Revenant, The Wolf of Wall Street, The Great Gatsby, The Django Unchained. J. Edgar, Inception, Shutter Island, Revolutionary Road, Body of Lies, Blood Diamond, Departed, The Aviator, Catch Me If You Can, Gangs of New York, Dawn's Plum. I don't see Avatar on this list, so already you're a shitty historian. That's not the point, though. I mean, I'm a movie buff, so, I mean, if he was in Avatar and I just fucking missed it, I wanted to know. But I assure you, he wasn't in Avatar. But getting on to your main point here. So you're saying that because you yourself would describe Leonardo DiCaprio's career in a very short, concise way, then that means that, oh, Josephus would have definitely done that in the past. Again, you're not being relative. Like, if I was looking at your work, at your writings, I would expect you to be that brief. But since we're talking about Josephus here, you have to look at his writings prior to that and after it. You have to consider the context of it. You know, you Christians love to spout on and on and on about context, but when it actually fucking matters, it doesn't seem to fucking matter to you people. If you go in context with Josephus and how he writes, the brevity of it doesn't make sense. You know, you really trivialize the grammatical part of it, saying that it's just a kind of a bullshit point to make, but it's really not, because when you have textual experts go through it, literary experts that know that know how to tell whether or not something was forced in there. It's amazing when you have those kind of people analyze it and be like, yep, that sticks out like a Britney Spears video in a funeral. I mean, it's really out there like a sore fucking thumb in the Josephus work, because in the previous part, he's talking about, some pretty heinous shit that goes on. And then there's, commercial for Jesus, independence. And then he starts talking about some more horrible shit that's going on. And he references that the previous paragraph had horrible shit in it. And so it doesn't really make sense for there to be a, star-spangled American, commercial for Jesus right there and in the midst of all that. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It's not proof that it was forged, but it is proof that it doesn't fit there, and it causes concern, and it should make you look deeper into it. Don't forget to go down below, hit the like button if you indeed liked this particular part of my response. If you will, also leave me a comment below. Also, if this is your first time here, subscribe to me, motherfucker. And in a new twist of things, question everything.